All right. Somebody comes back. That's all.
Are we recording?
Yep, we're recording.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the September 12th, 2023 edition of the Voorheesville Board of Education Facilities Committee meeting. Looks like we have some opening stuff on the agenda for the first. Is that where we're starting, or are we moving around?
Oh, well, so the openings was heat protocols and air
And air
purifiers.
purifiers.
I'd rather Neil be here for that.
Yeah.
Just because we had, so as
All right.
you may or may not know, we had the overflow today of our bathrooms because of some plugs, so they're here to fix some of them.
Yep.
We were always in ratio, so that was the number one thing that we checked, is making Neil confirm that we were in ratio of bathrooms that we needed for our students. So we opened up a couple, because that's huge. That's a very important thing, is making sure that we're in compliance. But we were all throughout the whole day, so that's important to know. So let's go capital project. How about we do that? And John Jojo is here to kind of give us an overview of our project and everything else.
Obviously, you know that both projects, the transportation building and the elementary school, are both submitted to SCD. We do have assigned review numbers, and currently they are reviewing project 2285, and our projects are 2291 and 0292. So that means we're only about 7 projects away from seeing a full architecture and engineering review. The paperwork review has started.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was today, right?
We are responding to those comments. I think we actually submitted an addendum this morning on that. But I'm here to say that the nice thing about the schedule that we provided you close to 5 months ago, that we are still on target for achieving our bid dates coming December, and then following up in April for the elementary portion of the project. I guess tonight we're also going to do a little bit review of the elementary exterior and parking area. Ryan from Bill Osborne is on his way. He knows that we're starting at 4:30.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll skip over some of that in a minute. So let's go to a few other things then. So that was kind of the main reason, is we wanted to talk about that entryway and outside, and we can talk about it because there can be so many configurations of what that can look like for our outside area. And we really need to have more input on what some ideas are, what some of the functional points want to be. So that's why we've asked them to come tonight, to really have a bigger conversation on that outdoor classroom and outdoor area itself.
So is that all the capital project stuff up until that?
Yeah.
Like,
Unless you want more.
no,
So,
I was just,
Unless you need more information. Right?
No,
Yeah.
but so like onto like facilities use.
So
or
no,
something?
I got a little bit more on capital
Oh,
projects.
so that's what I was
Oh, yeah,
asking.
no, I got
Yeah,
more on that.
okay.
If you have any questions on the building, so we are looking at a majority of air conditioning. The only places that won't have air conditioning at this moment are the kindergarten and first grade, second grade wing. Correct, John?
That's correct.
I believe everything else at this point will have
Oh,
AC.
really?
Yeah. We were
Wow.
able to do univents and be able to make a couple changes. Again, this is if bids go well and that all our estimates are right and everything is what it's supposed to be. But we're very, very close to having that whole part of the old building and that first edition.
Yeah, that's great.
Air conditioned. It's only that new edition. And that's something that later on in another project easily probably can be done in the future.
And that's also not where the biggest heat concern is.
No, it's not. The
Right,
biggest heat
so-
concern is that old building. So it's taking care of a major issue that's been down there for a long time. So that's huge. That was something we were able to finish our last meeting on the 16th, where I was extremely tired. So that was good. So NYSERDA, I want to talk about that. Jim, do you want to talk about NYSERDA and charging stations?
So NYSERDA has some grants in place where you can get up to 90% reimbursed of your costs for charging stations if you make them public.
Awesome.
So we've reached out to at least 2 companies, I think it was 3, just to make sure they're all coming roughly in line with each other with the same specs. So what we're thinking right now is 4 ports in the elementary lot across the bridge, and then 4 on the back side of the tech room, facing the back parking lot in the high school. So the first quote came in about $5,900 would be our cost for 8 charging ports, essentially.
Yes.
Nothing. Yeah, exactly. And the PR value is significant on that too, just to show that we're moving in that direction. So that's where we are with the charging stations. We're getting more quotes to make sure they're comparable. And
are those pay use, or are they?
If they, because they're open to the public, they would be pay for use. we're considering, getting codes for,
Yeah,
staff
staff,
members
mhm.
and, things like that.
Jim, you said 4 ports at the elementary school. What were the other locations?
4 ports over
Behind
here.
the school. here.
Behind the tech room,
And how many? were-
4.
4 there as well. Okay.
Yeah.
This isn't the bus charging station or the ones that are going in with the project. These are separate.
Is it, is it too hard to put them in out here, or that's just not as good a spot, or
It's not as easy a spot because everything comes in there.
all the
for
power
the
comes in over there
power,
and stuff?
so,
Yeah, makes sense.
It's possible at some point in the future that may happen.
Cost goes up significantly because we'd have to rip up the pavement,
Yeah.
go over and everything else.
Mhm.
If in the future we look at remodeling this front area and changing the flow, then it's a good opportunity then to look and see what we can do with that area, with that.
Cool.
That's
The
awesome.
other NYSERDA program we're working with, we just had a kind of soft kickoff meeting for the infrastructure for the new transportation center. So all the charging stations for the buses and cars there as well. The study has been reduced to 50,000 and we would pay 25% of that. So that's where we are with NYSERDA. They're helping us out with a lot of things.
So as you can see over here, there are a lot of different finishes. These are the majority of finishes that are going to be in the elementary school. So I know some of you saw these last night, but I want to kind of bring them up again. We are working through that. One thing we are finishing and working on is a mural in the elementary school. So I kind of wanted to give you an example of kind of the first concept of it and what we're looking at. So give you a little talk. So again, a lot of nonverbal ideas, things that are going to be able to make connections to our students, and then also bringing blackbirds. Slowly but surely, let's work. So we're working with an artist. They're actually going to be meeting with the students as well. This is purely conceptual. There are no textures. There's nothing in here right now. It's very, very bare bones. There's a lot more that goes with it. And that purple mountain and that water is actually going to change to the Helderbergs and the Black Creek. And there's going to be components of the school that can be a part of that. But as you walk into the building, it's going to be like, welcome to Voorheesville Central School. Like that elementary school, that corner that you'll be able to see will have the Blackbird theme and the Blackbird, and it will be that common kind of exterior. What there also will be in there is a lot of components for teachers to be able to build in. So like life cycles or different things like that as they go. So you can see how it works with the Blackbird. Over here is where the art room would be. And if you can see it, just as an example of the kind of concept, again, this is just concept, it isn't the end all. It's the Blackbird painting, so interacting with it. So it's painting in, there's like little claws and little different things like that, making that mural come to life. And then in the music, we're talking about having, the music components, so it would have like the alma mater. The music teachers were thinking like if they could put a bit of the alma mater in it. So these become interactive that are kind of K-12 that tell the story of Voorheesville Elementary School, but also provide the calming factors, also provide the visualizations for our nonverbal students, our verbal students, and really kind of brings it in a different concept. A lot of schools, they just do kind of artwork that really doesn't match the themes of the district or themes of what's going on in the building. So we're trying to build in that component to make it a full inclusive environment.
This is inside or outside?
Inside.
Inside.
Yep. Yeah, this would all be inside. And the texture, it's actually this one. So not this design, but this vinyl, it would be a vinyl component. So it's easily removable and something that we can have that's safe for our students that they can easily take care of like that. So a lot of times you do painting, if we're doing a painting or a mural that's painted, it costs a whole bunch more money. And, somebody could chip it or do other things. It's on vinyl. It's very easy.
Neat.
So kind of wanted to share that. It's in the artist concept. Again, we spent 45 minutes talking about it, going through it, and they have a lot more ideas and a lot more different things. They are meeting with students. Jeff is having like kind of instructional components. So the students are actually developing some of the texture to sell some of the ideas. So she's like focus grouping it with kids as well. So that's for me. Any questions on that?
No.
Looks neat. All right. So let's get into, the memorial tree. Neil?
Around back of the building, right behind where the current transportation facility is, there's a memorial tree, which is probably around 50% dead right now. And it's been slated to be removed. We're wondering, if we wanted to rededicate one of the new trees going back there to that family, which I forget the name of it now. But
So it's behind the building,
Yeah.
in
Is it
between.
in that little like,
Like alcove
like
area?
not a courtyard,
Yeah.
yeah, like a, yeah, okay.
It's dead, dying, slated to be removed, so. Thought process, and that's the problem is,
Do we know who the family is? There's like a plaque or something.
there is a plaque there from 1975.
Do we, does the family know that?
we haven't done anything yet until talking to the board. That's,
And can another tree be planted like in that same space?
There are
and then-
new trees that are slated to go in there.
Okay.
When everything's said and done.
so we could dedicate a new tree to. the family.
Rededicate one of the new ones that are going in there.
I think that'd be lovely. And if we could contact the family,
Mhm.
you know, for them to be a part of it again, that
So
would
that
be
tree
nice.
is dying, so it's,
Yeah.
if we don't take it down, it's gonna take itself down.
Is there
Yeah.
a downside to continuing on?
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, somebody took the time to memorialize a
Right,
loved one, and,
exactly.
you know, I'd hate for that to go away.
Right.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
the plaque is there, so we know it was done, so.
Mhm.
We just wanted to make sure you all were okay with that.
Sounds great, yeah.
Okay.
So, let's get into the elementary school, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
So, before we do that, Steve is here, does anybody have any questions about the transportation facility?
You know, the only tiny one I have, don't take long, but like SED approval is coming up, right? I'm sure
Yes.
we'll get it in whenever we get it, but,
Hopefully, end of
Well,
October, November.
we're optimistic that we'll get it sometime by December,
Yeah.
late December or January, yeah.
but with for the transportation facility, we'll start digging in like the spring, right? Is that
Uh,
still right? Or-
Yeah,
That's what I'm
well, I guess it depends on if we have a mild winter.
Yeah,
And
how much
they-
frost there is
They
and
may
or
be
how
able
much.
to work, exactly. So, yeah, we're gonna have to play it, but, you know, once
But
we get
before
a
school
contractor on
ends,
board,
we'll-
they're going.
Oh, the goal is spring.
Yeah,
they'll-
yeah,
they'll
the
want to
goal is
mobilize as quickly as
Yeah,
possible.
that's what I was checking. That's just what, if I was seeing if that was still sort of the time frame.
And we're trying to also figure out the timing that we could do, if we could bundle in a little bit more work at the elementary school as well.
Mhm.
So could we bundle in site work up here and let's say some of the site work at the elementary school in the back, like with the drainage and all those other
Mhm.
things? Can we get those two projects going at the same time?
Mm.
So, or asbestos abatement at the elementary school in the summer. So how can we get some of those things going
Yeah.
quicker? Our construction manager is working to be able to make sure that we get a better kind of sense of scope
Great.
of what we can do.
Remind me what we're doing about baseball. Do we?
Joe is
solidify
working
that,
on
or
it.
is he still working on
He's
it?
working on another location that hasn't been solidified yet. But it is something that baseball's gonna have to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's hard.
But
What are you gonna
there will be new and nicer
Yeah.
things there after it's all said and done.
do? Just the seniors, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So let's talk about the elementary school classroom area. So
Sure.
come on over and
Come on.
introduce yourself, tell who you are. I have what you shared with us now, and it's denied Neil, so we didn't give me access. Shame, Neil, shame.
All right, good.
I have a printout here if we need to resort to paper, but
Yeah, I'll request access.
my name is Ryan Macker, for those who haven't met here. I'm a site consultant for Mosaic from Appel Osborne Landscape Architecture. And so we've been working on not only the transportation center, but also the elementary school.
Here we go.
So this first drawing here, so put together this little package and kind of lookbook of different types of, outdoor learning spaces, precedent examples. They range in a way from informal to more formal styles as we go along them.
And just to clarify for everybody, over here, if you can see, here's the river that we're fixing. And this is the current bridge that is there, not the covered bridge. And this is the pathway. So this current path that's here, this is what we're talking about, is this area. The rest of that is where the buses are and where we have that, where they come in. So this is the new area that's going to be elevated and we're going over.
Right, yep. So yes, student access from parent drop off would come across the bridge as they do now. Cross that little access area to that loading dock on the edge of the school on the left side. That's for the loading for the kitchen area. Cross over to the protected curb island there, and then walk across straight into the school. This area here, yeah, you see where all the arrows, yeah, right in that area. That's what we went to SED with for the outdoor learning space. See some images of on the top right there of boulder style seating areas. So that this was a informal use of boulders to for an outdoor learning space with pavers. So that way space can be used for teaching or for hanging out waiting to be picked up after school, however you see fit. But so that's what we went to SED with. We've since met with the team. We gave these, through this lookbook. Those are the more bouldery options, which we kind of decided we're going to move away from.
So the problem is that we were talking about the building and looking at the 1940s landscape of it, and the boulder concept is a nice, more modern concept of having it, but our building is, it has that historical context and look. And I think the thought and the conversation we want to have is, do we want to go with that bolder, more modern look, or do we want to kind of have that more formal linear look that we have with the historical context, and trying to keep it all together as we're developing an outdoor space? So there's a lot of different options that are out there. And that's why we wanted to kind of talk to everybody, because the straight lines, clean lines really go more with the building than the boulders.
I hadn't thought about that, but yeah.
Yeah, and so all these options range from boulders to poured concrete walls to brick veneer or stone veneer. Yeah, that one that's a little further out there. Yes, that one is a water type design, but in that option, there's a nice stone veneer on the concrete seat walls there.
And that would line up with the stone veneer, would really match a little bit more of the building aesthetics.
Yeah, you could. That landscape block style, which was one of the earlier ones, and then here, this last page is almost a more traditional style classroom with an outdoor take to it. Again, with stone veneer seats or concrete wall seats, or even using site furniture. Those on the bottom left are benches that convert to tables and fold back and forth. So this was just a whole package of different looks. These were other outdoor type spaces with, that bottom right building is a historic middle school out here.
My daughter's right outside. Watch.
That was the bottom right, at the top left, same images. That was a historic middle school out near Syracuse that we new building addition facade put on, and tried to match the modern kind of landscape entry while keeping a historic styling. And that one had a nice seat wall with benches built into it, as well as benches built off the sides. So this whole package was really just to
Ideas.
So all sorts of flavors.
Gather your thoughts on
Yeah.
this.
Broad stylistic
We're not
direction.
asking you
is what
to
you
make a
kind
decision
of-
tonight.
Yeah, okay.
It's really to throw out more ideas so we can come back and react to those ideas so we can get it right for the district.
Yeah.
Our goal obviously is to see if we can wrap up the design by the end of the month. So then whatever details we need to create, we can get the addendum into SED. Well, hopefully before they actually pull the drawing and start reviewing it. If they actually start reviewing, it would not be the end of the world. We can always create an addendum for them. But that's kind of like the timeframe of what we're trying to achieve.
I was going to look at that. The other multiple
Yeah, I think
concepts.
matching the style of the building is quite important given the historic nature of
So
the building.
Right.
this was the most. This included some tweaks since last time, but these two have.
I mean, I love the idea of stone boulders and concept, because that was what was first thrown out there, but if it doesn't match what's there and isn't,
Yeah.
like it is one of those, like mean, we have to pay attention to when we redo the facade, it has to be historical, right? Like,
Absolutely.
and I know this isn't the facade and we don't technically have to, but it feels like in the spirit of what's there, it should probably go that direction, right?
I agree.
I think.
I don't feel strongly, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
I just didn't feel comfortable making a decision that's gonna be here
no.
for the next 100 years without having another conversation.
No, I mean, I certainly don't think we need to sit here and figure it like, do the three of us like this or this or this or this,
But you like the more traditional kind of look.
I do. I
Yeah.
think, I mean, even though, it is Creekside and certainly it's lovely, but, I think the architecture of the building is so unique that to have it be more classic and to fit with that, just, it seems to be a nicer, smoother transition for the eye and.
yeah.
So one of the other things now is, and I just want to kind of share this with you, is there's multiple concepts of the way that you can organize the outside.
Yeah, these drawings, these go back to, some of the very first initial, early on schematics that were done.
The way that it currently is now and the way that I showed is it gives you a lot of space for staging of students, staging in the morning, staging in the afternoon. So there's a lot of concrete. The current one we have is the first one. I can go back to that. So you can see the one that we submitted. Here we go. So this is the current one that we have. So there's a lot of staging area for students in the morning, a lot more concrete, a lot more area. And then in the middle is where we can kind of change off that area. Unless there's something there that speaks to you all and says, oh, no, this is kind of, that's not where we want it, but we're kind of going here.
And this is all with like the, parking lot stuff being
Correct.
the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these options, the curb line will be pushed back a little bit, because this was prior to getting our full survey and full build out, so these are, a little bit smaller area to work with than what's shown, but in general, the same design styles and principles can be applied.
I'm imagining the one
Oh, I
is,
like that.
and that's similar to what we currently have now.
That's
That,
exactly
so
what
there,
it's built
so
on, yeah.
there it is.
Yeah, that's what has become, that was the initial.
Mhm.
that was
Good, I'm
sort of
glad you
built
actually
off
said that,
of.
Barbara.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's the-
And again, that's elevated as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Rob, you wanna-
No,
Okay,
Yeah. Sweet.
there you are.
Any questions for any of the architects?
No, that seems like it's
very
very
short for you
quicker and
guys.
easier than thought it would.
I mean, I have a million thoughts, but I don't have any answers, like, just thinking
Yeah.
about what's best during the winter, what's best during the hot season, like more concrete, less concrete,
Well,
grass.
Well, I will be
how-
honest, but I think, but Ryan here can actually answer some of those questions. I mean,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
We
all
actually-
that's considered.
yeah.
Sure, whatever questions you have.
So what is better for winter and, with heat and all those other things like,
Yes.
because I know you were adding trees for shade.
Yeah, trees for shade and, aesthetic purposes, of course. But
And good learning, I mean, good to have trees.
yeah,
Not
Yeah.
adding trees.
yeah, no, we'll
Not
make sure
messy
there's no
trees.
non-fruiting up, non-messy
No,
trees
no,
and,
no. Fruits and
salt
berries.
tolerant, less
No
maintenance, the better,
purple nuts.
of course. But
Smash each other.
But,
I guess regardless of what we install or design for the space, there's going to be increased maintenance.
Mm.
Because right now you have a sea of asphalt,
right,
and any leaves that actually blow into the driveway, Mother Nature blows them right away, right?
Right,
So I said, the question is, yes, it's more maintenance, but it becomes more user friendly and a larger space. And because you're building a cafeteria in that area,
right.
that certainly lends itself to be able to get outside for, on the nice days that you allow your students to do that.
right, and with a little more concrete, a little more, area, plaza area, courtyard area, of course, that'll mean snow blowing that you may not have had to do in the past, or a little extra
Salting.
shoveling, yeah, a little extra, but, the trade-off is you have that nice space now and not a, asphalt, parking lot. It's not an extension of the parking lot anymore. It's its own space, it's outdoor space.
I'm gonna say something and John might kill me, but I'm gonna apologize for it right now. Did we talk about glycol? Or heating up the sidewalks?
Radiant.
We actually did talk about that,
oh, yeah.
but the cost is enormous
Mhm.
to put, heated sidewalks in, of course. Because like, you know, yes, it has to only be what? It has to be 33 degrees. But the warmer it gets, the faster it melts snow typically. So usually most units run just above freezing and it becomes a slow melt. But when you get those 1 inch per hour snows, the radiant heat in an outdoor cycle cannot keep up.
Right.
It's kind of like with like the snow that hits your roof. If your house is not well insulated, you know, you still build up a sizable amount until 2 or 3 days later, and then you'll start seeing that, you know, the snow is now tapered off. That's the same thing with sidewalks. So because you're servicing students every day, you know, even if we put heat outside, I can't tell you that you won't have to do maintenance. Like you still have to move the snow.
Yeah.
It's only good for like in the freezing type of year, like January and February, we get those really tough freezes. Like if it wants to rain, freezes up quick, then the heated sidewalks will probably perform much better, reduce salt use.
Or it's much better for the transportation facility. Because we are, so
No doubt.
in the back of our transportation facilities, our wash bay, there is an area back there that will be heated to allow for the car washing without the icing.
Because if you're washing your buses outside, you know, we are actually creating an ice rink in the wintertime. And we're gonna have to try to mitigate as much of that freezing as we can, so the school doesn't have to salt those areas as often.
Any other questions or?
I didn't really have any answers. I was hoping experts thinking about all.
Oh, no, listen,
Yeah.
this is, they're amazing and they do a great job. And this is what, last time we met, we threw a whole bunch of stuff and say, let's think about these. So just throw everything at them
Yeah.
because this is what they're good at.
Yeah, and you know, afterwards, if you have any questions, please, you know,
If there's
send them
anything,
our way.
send it to me and I'll be more than happy to send it right on its way.
Yeah, or if
Alright.
there's something you see that, you know, wow, that would look good or something, you know, we welcome all ideas, you know, we'll work with each other. You know, give you the space that matches your building as, you know, as it deserves. But
Any other questions for the applicants? No. That's probably the easiest meeting you guys had all day.
Okay, yeah,
Very awesome.
had a harder day at the office.
yeah, I was thinking the same thing, yeah.
All right.
Um,
Well, we're gonna let you guys go because we don't have anything else on the project, so you
yeah.
guys can go, we can move on.
I'll leave that with you. That's the-
Thank you.
the
Nice to
review
meet you.
numbers.
Yeah,
So
okay.
you
Thank
can-
you.
Yeah.
I've got a set of them
No problem, you're right.
at one of our
So that's kind of
OACMs.
where we
So
are.
back
Yeah,
to,
whatever you guys.
you wanna set up, like, the next OACM, have Appel come back? Or
Yeah,
at least have them.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
But I'd like to, once these guys work through some more designs,
First and second.
Yeah.
obviously I'd like to have them share them directly with you and then you can get them out to folks for
Yeah.
comment.
Let's do that.
Because it's a lot easier for, instead of bringing you here, it's email them out and maybe you can comment that and then we can maybe come back together again in a couple of
And I
weeks.
can get some staff comment
Yeah.
too, so that'll be good.
We'll do that.
Great, great. Thank you guys.
Thank you. We'll be in touch.
All right. So let's move on back to the heat protocols, monitoring of temps and rooms, when it comes to hot and then air purifiers and HVAC status. So Neil?
Yeah, I was talking to Jeff a little bit today. We did have to move two classrooms last week, mostly on the third floor, which we'll be getting AAC in this upcoming project here. And they go to like the smaller gym down on the first floor where it is a lot cooler. A couple other, Jeff gives up his office for small group instruction, a couple other spots down there. I believe it was 6 classrooms or 7 that he had to move. So yes, they are monitoring and checking on that and moving people appropriately. And then as far as HVAC, we make sure we're up to code and we do have the MERV 13 filters and everything. And
We're doing the outdoor air right now.
I mean, minimum we can do is 10%.
Mhm.
Any less than that, you don't have enough fresh air coming in and you're against state code. So, yeah,
Are we like 95% fresh air coming in right at the moment?
not right at the moment, no.
What are we currently at?
Currently, I believe we were 20 something. I can always up that again before I leave, since we have pretty nice weather coming in tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, just with, we all know COVID is sweeping
Surging.
through again, so whatever we can do to try to mitigate.
Not even just COVID, but it's the back to
Everything.
school
All kinds of-
sniffles,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's
Everything's
back to
coming
school.
down.
Yeah, anything you do to get that fresh air in.
Yeah,
Fresh
if we
air,
can
run those
increase that as much as
purifiers.
possible for now, and
Yeah.
then see what we can do for that. That'd be
And
great.
all those air purifiers we got, are they in like one in each room? Is that what they ended up?
Yes,
doing?
There are.
every room has their own. The pack has 5 or 6
Mhm.
spread out, maybe even more. But yes,
Are they, yeah, that's off. That's off. Are people running them though? Are they being told to turn them on?
our custodians usually have them on at night. If we leave it on 3, the teachers come in to shut it off. If we put it on 1 or
You put it
2,
on 1 or
It's
2.
too loud.
and then
Yeah.
at least it's on and running.
Yeah.
I don't have it on now because I have multiple windows
Yeah.
open,
Right.
so there's really no reason to have an air purifier on when I have.
No, I know at least one of them was running last night at the board meeting. It wasn't super loud or anything.
Yeah.
And we always have the lobby ones are running, so if you notice, like when you came in the lobby, it's always on.
Can we go back to the heat protocol? Like what happens, like you'd mentioned volleyball game got canceled. Like I'm just not aware of what the heat protocol is up here.
Yeah, so that's a little bit different, and that's brand new, so that one, let's talk about that real
Okay.
quick.
Yeah, that's not us, right?
Yeah, so we never have actually had a heat protocol in this building as far as I'm aware of.
Because we don't need one. It
We've
doesn't
never
hot.
needed one, correct, because in comparison to the elementary school where they get 90 degrees on those third floors, you need a heat protocol.
Okay.
Here, it's a first floor, 1 level building, so you don't get the heat levels. But you've gotten it to be very hot. What happened is NISBA has made protocols now for athletics, which is actually a good thing,
Mhm.
right? So, because, we know that our gym gets pretty hot. So those protocols, and Joe knows them very, very well. And because he's been dealing with them over the past 4 days.
Right.
So I know like the other day, if it hits 85 in a room or a certain temperature, and that's the temperature in a classroom, like say the gym itself, that it's not air conditioned, they have to have multiple breaks. There's a specific thing that they have to do. If the heat index gets higher, you do have to cancel. So I know Kiwanis also stated that they were following the school. So, for example, like the other day, they sent out letters and saying if the school cancels their games, they're going to cancel as well. So it's actually filtering down to like some of
Yeah.
the little leagues and the smaller leagues as well. But that is brand new this year. In this building, because I think you might be going there,
Yeah,
is-
just curious.
yeah, air conditioning wise, we only have, it's in certain offices,
For the pack, right?
in the pack, library, and that is it. Am I correct? in saying that?
The tech room off the library.
Oh, the
is
new
pretty
tech
cool,
rooms.
right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Science
the
room?
new tech rooms are not the new science rooms,
Computer room.
computer rooms, so it's limited in the secondary complex.
And just safety wise, like, do we have our own protocols for our outdoor workers? I saw someone weed whacking the other day, and I was like, it's so hot, but I'm like, maybe you only have to work 10 minutes and then gets a break.
Yeah, we don't push them extra hard and force them to weed whack when it is 95, 100 degrees outside,
Right.
because we know how stressful and draining that is. So it's like, usually do that first thing in the morning, and you get to a point, pull them inside, do something a little
So it's
less
considered.
stressful. Yeah.
Okay. I assume so, but. cross my
That's good,
mind.
always good to ask.
The heat protocol for athletics does that differ at all for indoor sports like volleyball versus like
I
the
don't know
Kiwanis
enough
kids
about
using?
that, to be very honest with you. I know that indoor, it does differ from outdoor,
Mhm.
because Joe mentioned it for volleyball in
Yeah.
comparison to outside, but I don't know the specifics behind it.
Okay.
I do know that Kiwanis is following it.
Yeah.
Which is, that's a positive. But I know that this is new for schools this year. I can find out though, if you'd like.
Yeah, I'd love that. Thanks.
Can you tell me the specific question, just so I make sure I get it right?
I just want to know what the heat protocol is for indoor sports versus outdoor sports.
How about I actually get the protocol?
Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah, I'd love to see the link.
Yeah,
I'm glad they're doing something. Yeah, because this is only, it feels like gonna get worse as time goes on.
I would imagine.
and I can tell by the sentiments, and I'm thinking, the conversation I've heard from multiple community members that have been here over the past few days is, if possible, when we're doing projects, is to look for AC. And you said, Tricia, if we could do cleaning and heat pumps and things like that would be better, but have that as consideration as we're looking forward in our facilities. So, right, see no reason why we can't, that's what we're trying to do now at the elementary school. So, see no reason why we can't.
Yeah.
Good. All right, next one. So Neil is gonna give an update basically on how school's opening, running, and Neil, why don't you do that?
So everything Went somewhat smooth this summer, and we were able to get everything done and open on time. We have a new middle school vestibule up and mostly running, secure fire window. Ladder project on the roof got completed. We bought a new piece of equipment for mowing the fields, because our mowers are, one mower, our newer mower is 5, 6 years old and only 72 inches. This one is 96, so it saves some time there. But also that Ventrac tractor has many different attachments, so it'll be able to be utilized in the wintertime as well for clearing sidewalks and opening things up and everything else down the road.
So, yeah, everything's been open and we're moving forward on some of the projects. When it comes to facilities use, we did roll out the new program. So you want to talk about master library real quick?
Master library schedules, so we have it set up so everybody can go in, log in. For employees, it's all through their Google Mail account to log in easier, which correlates to our work order program, which has a couple bugs which we're working through. I believe they said we're all fixed now, so you shouldn't be getting 100 emails a day.
Awesome.
And
I was getting every single thing.
it was, you were supposed to be able to notify the person who requested the work order that something else came in or something pertained to that. But instead of just that person, that was going to the entire list.
Okay. Which was everybody.
Which was everybody. So the programmers went in and corrected that program or that mistake.
This also is going out to the community too, and there's forward-facing components of this, so it's going to really streamline our facilities use.
That's great.
And allow for them to see what is available, what's not available. The one question I did get from an organization recently was like, well, we can't get our things in our set times. I go, well, the PTA, for example, you're doing one-offs, right? A one-off, we're not expecting you to get it in February in those timeframes. It's the groups that are using large-scale amounts of our fields, and that's what I was explaining. So that might be something that's a little confusing for people because it's new, but it's when you're doing large amounts of use for like a full kind of season, not 1 or 2 meetings that are going on. So that is one thing that has come up that we're clarifying for some. But other than that, we are moving a lot quicker on some of these things. When it comes to field itself, Neil, you want to give an update on
Soccer and football all our fall sports are all up and running. We've been overseeding most of the high traffic areas to try to keep them as green as possible. Goal mouse and the center of football get very beat up. So I found overseeding as you go on a weekly basis helps minimize the damage. We're still going to get some out there, but it not as bad or as big of areas.
And we've received more compliments on our soccer fields and football fields than we have in other years past, so.
How wonderful.
Take it.
Yeah.
Take it,
Take the win.
exactly.
So Neil doesn't understand how good that is, but it's important, so, yeah, so.
Well, it
that's-
has good rain too.
It is, but he's also
Almost
irrigating,
too good.
but he's been irrigating it as well, which is, making sure that that's done. So yeah, but the rain does really, really help.
And how about the new tennis courts?
They're
They're working out perfect.
They're working, they're practicing out there. They're working out well. Neil did get a new toy for that, Neil. So,
Vacuum.
Blower,
the blower, yeah.
Oh, lovely.
big leaf blower, walk behind so I can clear it off in no time.
Because one of the issues out there is the trees get on there and then it creates algae and it goes slip and scope. If they're doing that, the issues are fine and they're done. So there has been working out really well for us.
It looks great.
Mhm.
Doesn't it when you
Oh,
drive in?
it's so nice.
It's so much nicer. And our communities out there using it a lot too.
Yeah.
So, our next project is going to be the middle school, high school vestibule that is at State Ed right now. So that's not the picture of it.
The high school one.
Yeah, so the high school vestibule, that's coming out and we're actually redoing the ceiling as well. So that ceiling and those lights will actually be taken out and new lights added in. So we're actually gonna beautify that a little bit more because it's really dingy. It's not very welcoming.
Brighten up the lobby. So there's a couple of those spotlights that'll be going over that trophy case to kind of put some more focus on that and light it up a little bit better instead of just having it as dark as it currently is.
It's not an overhaul, but it's definitely a sprucing of it. Roofing at the elementary school, our $100,000 project for this year is the roofing at the elementary school. So there is a component that's leaking right over that 3rd floor stairwell.
Mhm.
You know, that the 3 floors that go up and down, there's that leak. that is getting taken care of in our $100,000 project this year.
Just the main stairwell, not the back stairwell, right?
Another back stairwell.
Oh, the
This is
back.
stairwell,
Yep.
yes. Yep. Plus the little section over the elevator, so to that little offshoot.
And the goal is going to be, if things we can take care of every other year on the $100,000 project, the more that we do that, the less than when we do capital projects that we have to add those into it. So, technology and where we are with our buildings. We have fiber optic cable throughout the district now. So,
Great.
yeah, it is brand new and they're done, almost, right? They're still
They're
finished.
finishing up a couple patents tonight, a couple more labels. The one guy's on vacation, but I think Monday he said he would be back to kind of finish up all the little details. So
All of those things are getting taken care of. And of course, when one thing goes and you're starting to make sure that you get everything right, there are things that can go away. And so our phone system, on the other hand, is dying very quickly. We're analog, as everybody knows. We have not switched over to VoIP, but now that we have the infrastructure that's there and we have all the cabling crossed, we now have the ability to move on to web-based. So there's a lot of new options that Lonnie is actually researching and going to meet with Jim and I about seeing what we can do. But I think the next phase is going to be redoing our phone system. Over the summer, we actually had it where we had no phones. Our elementary school was completely out, and the reason why was because of something in the high school. It was very bizarre, and we're starting to see more and more issues. It's getting to the point where it's an emergency. It will be an need.
There's a phone in every room,
There's a phone in every room.
and there has to be kind of for safety, or I know you have a PA system.
But
you had to do a one-off call. For
yeah, but
teacher
for teachers to teacher or other rooms, or teachers, not all rooms call out. But, but in order for us to be able to speak to one another or get a phone call to a room or say, hey, could you please send this woman down to talk to me? You're not going to do that through a PA system, right? So, but even our district phones itself, so my office phones or anyone else's, they're there. Web-based is really neat because I can call, let's say I call from camping and I'm in the Adirondacks and I set up my phone and I'm working through it. It will actually show here. So it wouldn't show where I am, or I can call from home and it would actually be the school number. So it's all new. I'm very unfamiliar. Lonnie is getting this, but multiple people who are using web-based have been really touting this is the next thing. And if we can move from here to there, as it's tested and secure, because be the number one, without having to do the VoIP and save the district some money down the road, that probably would be where my suggestion would be. Did I miss anything?
No.
Did you do that? Did you have the cameras and stuff?
No, I did not, but
that's all part of this project. And again, the guy, elementary school is mostly up and running. Up here, he had a couple more things he had to patch in, and they will be up and running hopefully beginning middle of next week.
Nice.
Yeah, and if you look, they are the new white cameras around the building on the outside.
Okay.
So there is all of our facilities now have complete view and coverage.
360.
360 view. Yeah, there's no blind spots outside. So that is a huge change for what we want.
That's
That's
wonderful.
really great.
Yeah.
All right, that it?
Yeah.
Unless there's time, because I gotta go run, run. Yes.
Any other questions?
Run
or
on fast.
anything?
Yeah.
Put on the track.
No, to my car.
Awesome.
That one.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome.
Well, I'm gonna
All
go
right.
see the girls varsity football
Nice.
and